Nice to be back in town, Bailey.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Always love coming up here, come up every off-season, hang out with family and do the Kimberley Nines as well, which has been great the last couple of years.
Is it second time doing this carnival?
Yeah, second time we've been here, and hopefully it's here for many more years to come. I think the kids all get plenty out of it, and we all have fun up here as well.
What sort of makes it a special event for the kids up here?
I think any time you miss a day of school and you get to come down and play footy on Cable Beach with your mates, it's always going to be a win. There's plenty of really good organisations, mental health, Containers for Change, the local footy community as well comes down as well, which is great. So the kids get a day off school, but they're still learning out here hopefully, and and the police are here as well, which is always good.
And some pretty talented players out there?
Yeah, definitely. Running around with the primary school kids today, I go all right, and then tomorrow against the senior school kids, it gets a little bit harder, but yeah, there's some great talent up here, and we've got a really strong Kimberley representation in our playing group as well, which is always good.
There's been some pretty well-documented challenges up here in the Kimberley with youth crime and that sort of thing. How important is it for the Dockers to give back to the community in this way, and how much of a help can this program be for that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's a massive help. The WA Police are a partner of this event, so it's great to have some officers here. They've got their recruiting team and also some of their officers here, so they're building relationships with these kids. We've got the community coaching program going as well with the cadets, so they all become level 1 accredited coaches through this program. So it's a way to build relationships with the kids outside of work, I guess. So you're not just an officer in blue, but you coach John, coach whoever. So it's building those relationships, and I think that really helps them do their jobs, and the kids also grow up as well.
You're obviously a big part of this program and a Starlight ambassador for Fremantle as well. What sort of do you love about getting into the community and being a part of these sort of programs? Yeah,
I love just giving the kids just coming and having fun, and I've just try to be a part of that and get out amongst them and play and try to make their days as happy as possible, and just run out and play footy. It's not the hardest thing in the world, coming down to Cable Beach and running around kicking a footy with these guys, and I get as much out of it as they do, I think, so yeah.
You signed a 2-year contract extension recently with the Dockers. What sort of convinced you to stick around for another 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years is great. It's nice to get a bit of security and job security, not be worrying about it every year, so at least I've got another couple of years, which is nice. I think it's about the group that we've got at the club, and the fact that I've been a part of it. I think building over the last 4 or 5 years, it would have been a massive shame to leave now, having tasted a little bit of success, and hopefully we can go a couple of steps further next year.
Did you have any interest from other clubs? Because you've been medical sub, you've been so close and made an impact every time you did get onto the field this year.
Yeah, I think I showed this year that I could contribute really strongly at AFL level and have an impact on the scoreboard, which is obviously a really important part of the modern game. So yeah, I did have a little bit of interest elsewhere, and I seriously considered that. I think I would have been remiss not to think about my options and whether or not my footy would be better off elsewhere. But I love the club, and not only what we do on the field, but the group we've got, and also all of this stuff as well outside of footy is really important to me and a special part of what we do.
So what's the difference between, obviously your decision-making process and maybe some of your teammates like Griffin, Darcy Tucker, Lloyd Meek, who did take the chance to chase other opportunities?
Yeah, I think everyone's in a different circumstance, different positions. Meek is probably a little bit different to the other guys in terms of opportunity and whatever else. And there's some really close mates of mine. It's always sad to see them go, but everyone's got different inputs and different things that go into their decision making. And end of the day, they made the right decision for them, I think. Which, as a mate, you can't begrudge them. They've got to do what's best for them, and footy's a business, and that sort of thing happens every year. So it's sad to see a few mates go, but they're doing what's best for them and best for their career and best for them as people as well.
And so what are you sort of doing this off-season to improve yourself and put yourself in a frame to be a regular member of that 22?
Just improving my fitness is always a challenge this time of year. Training up here helps in the heat, bit of heat training. And then just working on a bit of my quickness and change of direction stuff as well with our strength and conditioning staff. just to keep adding layers, and then once we start pre-season, keep working on that football craft as well.
What about Luke Jackson, an exciting addition to the club? Do you think there's room for both of you up forward?
Yeah, I think we play slightly different roles, so hopefully he doesn't take too many marks, drops a few, and I can swoop in and crumb them.
What about the other recruits, Jake O'Meara and Josh Corbett? Is it an exciting time and becoming, in some sense, a bit of a destination club to get these sort of names in the door?
Yeah, that's the thing. You lose a few really good players and good blokes, but you also gain a couple, which is the way it goes this year and every year. And in a couple of months we'll have the draft and get a few new names as well, so it's always great when those guys come in and you build those relationships with them, and they'll all add to the group, and not only from a footy point of view but also off field as well.
Great. Hey mate, so obviously a lot of great players come out of the Kimberley, including yourself. So why do you think that is? What is it about the Kimberley that produces so many AFL players?
I think it's a great catchment area, and Claremont do a really good job up here, helping transition boys and girls now down to Perth. It's obviously a bit of a tough transition sometimes, but Claremont do a great job helping that. Freo and these community programs help with that, I think. But I think it comes down to there's a lot of talent up here and a lot of passion for footy as well. So kids grow up playing it, come from Auskick and even younger. You grow up around the game. Your family, your friends all love the game. So you've always got a footy in your hand up here, and you're always running around at recess and lunch with your mates, kicking the footy, and that builds your skills and just feeds that passion, and then it translates down in Perth.
So during the season you spoke out about some racism towards some teammates through comments on Facebook. Could you speak a bit about that briefly?
Yeah, we never want to see that. That doesn't have a place in our society, and there's ignorant people, particularly behind a keyboard and behind a computer screen, that hide behind that and say things that I think no one should say, and no one should have to hear as well, more importantly. And the boys involved have families, Sonny's got kids and a partner, and we want to wipe that out of our society as much as possible. And so part of that is standing up when it happens to either yourself or someone close to you, and making sure that we don't stand for that. Don't let it pass by. Stand up and call it out when it does happen.
And there's been a bit of a push from a strong group of members and Fremantle fans about potentially splitting that partnership with Woodside today. Do you, as a playing group, have any feeling about the club's sort of partnership with fossil fuels and climate action?
Yeah, we've been having a dialogue with the club as players. I'm the sustainability officer at the club, so we've created a sustainability strategy and a series of initiatives of what we're doing as a club to improve in this space. So there's an interested group of players that have been having discussions with the club throughout the sustainability process, and we're doing some really strong work in the space. So I think it's about more than just the logo on the jumper. We're trying to grow as a club in this space, and there's been some really strong and great initiatives, of which this is one of work in the sustainability space that the club's working on.
The club's had a really proud history of Indigenous players and Indigenous representation. Given what's sort of been happening at some other clubs, like you sit comfortably with like the program that you have at Freo and the history and the sort of ability to make a welcoming environment for every player?
Yeah, the club's probably got one of the strongest histories of Indigenous representation in the AFL, and so we've had the most games played by Indigenous players. We've had Indigenous players on our list from day dot all the way through to now in our AFL and AFLW program. And I know Dale's come out and said, or it might have been Simon, saying that we're open to a review on our history and what's happened in the past at this club. But from my personal experience at the club, I think the club's always been really strong in this space, and it's an area that we're proud of, and we've got a really well-developed wrap, a stretch wrap that is coming to an end, and then we're in the process of developing one to go forward. So we're doing a lot of work in this space, and I think our history as well backs us up on that.